In terms of practical points for tenants to consider, I would always recommend taking advice if the lease includes provisions for a turnover rent or an open market rent review, as these provisions can be very complex. Particularly in the case of open market review, they set out detailed assumptions and disregards which are to be taken into account at the point of review. Next, rent review dates should be clearly set out and should be by reference to the date on which the lease is granted and not backdated to a date before then. If you are entering into a lease that is protected by the Landlord and Tenant Act 1954, avoid a rent review that falls on the last day of the lease term. Lastly, more frequently than not, revised rents payable after an open market review are actually not determined until quite some time after the review date. During this period, the tenant will be required to pay the current rent, but then top up the shortfall in payment once the new rent is determined. Tenants should take care to ensure that they are required to pay interest at the base rate only on the shortfall, and that interest is backdated to the date on which the instalment of rent fell due, not the rent review date itself. Otherwise, they might pay more interest than they were expecting.